Hi everyone, I'm Olivia Fletcher. I'm a first year PhD student in the Geography department at the University of Liverpool. So today I'm going to be talking about theorising self-tracking and the geographies of surveillance in the lives of young people. Firstly, I'm going to quickly define self-tracking and give you a little bit of context to the talk before highlighting the theories I'm going to be synthesising as part of my PhD research and commenting on the ways that I'll bring these together. So self-tracking is defined by Deborah Lupton in her 2016 book, The Quantified Self, as the practices in which people knowingly and purposively collect information about themselves, which they then review and consider applying to the conduct of their lives. This involves wearable technologies such as Fitbits and apps such as Strava, which claim to be a means for individuals to quantify and take responsibility for their health. As part of my PhD, I'm synthesizing Foucauldian and social capital theory with a feminist new materialism approach to better understand self-tracking and how the body comes together with digital technologies in everyday lives. So firstly, my research engages with Foucauldian theory in relation to Foucauldian understandings of power as entangled and circulating through everyday life and through discourse. Therefore, aiming to recognise how individuals perform and understand health in relation to the understandings of health reproduced through self-tracking technologies, and recognising the power of individuals within this. To do this, I draw on the following technologies of power identified by Foucault: surveillance, biopower, and governmentality, to understand how these technologies act as biopolitical power apparatuses to normalise and govern bodies in particular ways. Within this, self-tracking technologies enable multiple forms of surveillance: self-surveillance, social surveillance, and external surveillance, which allow the intensification of the neoliberal notion that individuals must take responsibility for their own health, producing self-disciplining subjects. I'm also taking a relatively new approach to self-tracking research. Following Deborah Lupton's call to extend the Foucauldian approach through Feminist New Materialism, I'm taking this approach to enable me to focus more on the corporeality of self-tracking practices. Feminist New Materialism helps us to reimagine the human-technology relationships, and as Deborah Lupton highlights, this approach recognises the contribution of non-human actors in configuring material realities. It also focuses on the vitalities and agencies of all actors and explores power relations and the gendered dimensions of this. My research recognises the role of the body within these power relations, looking at the embodied dimensions within relationships to self-tracking technologies and the implications of the disciplinary and normalising workings of power. I've also chosen to apply social capital theory in my research, as self-tracking spaces are becoming increasingly social through their entanglements with social media, but also through encouraging social interaction within the apps. I've chosen to apply Bourdieu's conceptualisation of social capital, which you can see on the screen here. So I understand it as the resources individuals and collectives derive from their social networks. So my research recognises the role of interaction within self-tracking spaces and their associated social media within the normalising and disciplinary workings of power. Applying this theory will allow me to explore the role of digital environments in allowing some performances of health to be reified over others, leading to the development and transfer of social capital. Through combining these theories, I aim to understand how power operates through self-tracking spaces and their interaction with the body. Therefore, I'll explore how the surveillance gaze relates to the self-regulation of the healthy, ideal neoliberal subject to reproduce normative ideas around health. Within this, I aim to understand how social capital is gained in relation to the conformance to health norms within the field of self-tracking and its association with social media, looking at who is excluded from this in relation to different axes of oppression. Therefore, aiming to understand how power operates through social capital within these spaces. In synthesizing these theories, I'll recognise that bodies may be guided by power knowledges, imperatives, and effective forces that influence self-trackers to gain self-knowledge through data, whilst recognising the implications for humans' intertwinings with technology and the consequences of the effective forces and agential capacities on selfhood and embodiment. My research is the first study to combine these theories in relation to self-tracking, and I aim to offer insights into how to better understand and negotiate what health is and how it is practiced in digital spaces.